reliving the champagne life. And it's the radio, man, won't you turn that up? Yeah, that's my motherfucking jam, won't you turn that up?
You are now watching Single on a Saturday night, right here at TGI Fridays, 4000 City Ave. And today's topic is how to get what you want out of relationships. And we're going to hear from Brenda L. Thomas. And we're going to talk about
Wait a minute, somebody
journey.
up here knows what to get, how to get what?
How to get what you want out of relationships.
Wait a minute, you actually know how to do that?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm excited.
And
I'm
we have
really excited.
And we have Raylia Lewis, who's going to talk about her journey. But we have so much in store for you. But I'm going to get down to the introductions of our panel who is here. See, the men, right? Something about the men today. They're not here. I'm not going to put them on blast because something about the men in summertime.
You know what they
Summertime, the
doing.
men, what are they doing?
You know what they doing.
So let's talk to the ladies today. They do. They ran away? Is that what they do?
They don't run away. They running after something else.
I think they lose their mind.
You know how I go. Stop it.
All right, well, I'm Shelly Williams, single, never been married, no children, and I'm okay. I'm just okay with that.
Well, I'm Alicia, and I'm single, one child, and I'm okay too.
Go ahead. Since you're on the panel today, go ahead.
I'm Raylia Lewis, no kids, but I'm not single.
What does that not single mean? Meaning you're
I
not.
have a man. I'm
You're
not
not married. You're
I
not
have a
married.
man.
The way
I
we
don't want to be married yet.
No,
Not
so
married,
you're
you're
still
just
single.
I don't agree with that.
IRS.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we want to get
I
this.
don't fully agree with
No,
that.
you can say you're in a relationship.
I'm in a relationship,
Then you
yes.
know, but you're not. You're still single, honey.
But our
That's an opinion.
on the
I'll take
IRS,
it.
we say
Yeah, you
single.
do.
You know, IRS on the application,
That's
they say
true.
single,
Your tax
married.
status, you single.
That's true on the
You got a
IRS.
boo.
Not in my life,
say
but the
that.
IRS.
Because technically, I'm not that single either.
Oh, okay.
I'm in a relationship and probably have been in a relationship this whole time we had this show. I might have been in multiple relationships, but right
can't say it
now
was the same one.
it wasn't the same one. But I've always been in a relationship.
That's on you, Brenda.
Okay, so I'm Brenda L. Thomas, and I am a mother, grandmother, and a great-grandmother. Yes, I
Are
am.
you one of these seniors that's over here being flexible, touching their toes to their heels, driving me nuts
You
too?
asked me how to get a
Oh my
man.
God.
But I don't even consider her a senior. Cause you ain't no senior.
I'm a senior.
Really?
Yeah, but you gotta have something young to make you feel young and keep you young.
That's true.
I've never-
You need regular
I don't do all
injections.
this on my own.
You need regular injections of youth. You do. My mama taught me that. She
Okay.
did. That's what my mama told me. Just like
That's
she said, it's a pole rabbit that only has one hole. And that is the
Ooh.
reason I ain't never been single. Because you always got to have a multitude of men, you know, so you can have them in rotation. Because what one won't do, the other one will. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so I am Danielle. I am single, never been married. You know, I'm in a relationship, but trying to handle all of this right here is driving me a little crazy.
It does seem to drive people crazy, but today we're talking about the journey, our journey, and we have two authors. Brenda L. Thomas, we're going to talk to you. I've known you for a lot of years, and like I said, in my mind, I don't see you as a senior. I don't know. I guess because I've known you for a lot of time, I don't see you as that. But you are a world-renowned author. Tell us about your story, the backstory now. She understands the backstory of how to find what you want in a relationship. So talk to us, Brenda.
Oh, backstory for me was I grew up with 3 brothers and 2 uncles, and they were womanizers. They were the example of a dog. But I love them. I put them on a pedestal. I supported them. And when you're a little girl, you know, if they ask you to lie for them, that's what you do. However, that made me learn how to accept things from men that we probably shouldn't, but it also taught me how to handle men just like they handle us. And was married, horrible marriage.
How long were you married?
I was in that relationship and marriage for 15 years.
Wow.
It was.
So wait a minute, you were married 15 years, or you were in a relationship?
I
for
was
15?
married for 5, but with that man
Okay.
for a total of 15
Because
years.
you know, it takes us too long to say I do, and it's by the time we say I do, we already don't.
I should have
That's been happening a lot.
I should have never said I do.
That's what I'm saying. By the time we say I do, these relationships drag on. By the time we say I do, it's kind of like you feel like, well, I've been here all this time. Da, 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 da. And then by the time you say I do, you really don't already.
I
And
never
then you
said
just
I
go
do,
on,
so I couldn't even
Look,
tell
but
you
know,
nothing about that.
you
I've
know.
never said I do.
You know, I am Danielle never said I do because I don't Patterson. So I understand.
So anyway, was with him all that time. He was a very abusive husband. And
Physically, mentally, emotionally, all of the above.
well, you can't be one without the other, I don't think. Mine was physical, emotional, mental, financial, the whole
wow.
gamut.
Do I know him?
You probably do.
So did you serve time?
I should have. No. My
was making
time,
sure.
the
I was
time I
wondering whether or not
served
he
was with
alive.
him. That was my time.
I was wondering whether or not he was alive. That's all.
He's still
Okay.
alive. And
Okay.
as a result of that, being an author was something that I gave up because the part of the abuse was he didn't allow me to write. He threatened that if I wrote, he would kill me.
Wow.
So for those years, I did not write. And once that relationship and marriage was over, then I went on to become a best-selling author, and then I went on to do some things that helped me to live out my dreams.
The best revenge is always doing better.
Success will do it every time.
So we want to talk about the book, the first book, your best-selling book. I mean, everybody knows, your first book. So we want to talk about that, go in depth about it. So give us the title,
Okay.
give us the title.
So my first book was called Threesome, Where Seduction, Power, and Basketball Collide. And it came about as a result of, I had always worked in corporate America. And when I switched careers, I went to work in sports marketing. I worked for a company called And1 Basketball. And I was their director of player relations and product placement. And at the time, they had just signed a marquee athlete, which was Stephon Marbury. And he was playing for the Timberwolves. So while he was with And1, and after he left And1, I went with him as his personal assistant. So everybody used to always ask me, what's it like to be a personal assistant to an athlete? What's that lifestyle like? And it was exciting because, 1 minute I'd be in Philly on the bus, next minute I'm riding at a Bentley. So as a result of that, when everybody asked me that, I decided to develop this character, Sasha Boreani, who was coming out of a tragic...
Before Sasha Fierce. This is before.
Yeah, she
before
stole that
Sasha
from me.
Fierce.
She stole that from
and
me.
she did steal it. Her book was out before
Yes.
Sasha Fierce.
Thank
She wanted you to know that.
Thank you for
'Cause
clarifying
me and
that.
Brenda go back. So go ahead.
2001 it came out. So since everybody wanted to know what it's like, I created this character, Sasha Boreani, and I took people through what I call the underbelly of professional sports. And she had come out of a tragic relationship, and she, like me, took a job as a personal assistant to an athlete. Then our lives went a little different because she got caught up in the sexually charged underbelly. I didn't. So
You sure?
but
You just, because, I'm just saying, I want to know the real story.
it's all fiction.
But when we want to go to a break right now and hear the real story when we come back. We have Brenda L. Thomas, Rayleigh Lewis. She was a finalist on America's Next Top Model. So we're going to go to a break right here in TGI Fridays 4000 City Ave. This is Single on a Saturday Night. Pull out your phone, go to YouTube, like us, follow, subscribe, and just be a part of Single on a Saturday Night. And it doesn't matter whether you have a boo. You're still single until you marry. I'm just, not for you, I'm just saying. Don't be scared. Don't be scared now. All right, let's go. Guess what? We are back with another hair segment right here at Exquisite Hair Design with Rashina Stewart. And today we're doing things a little differently. I have to wear my hair out. She talked me into it. Actually, I went 17 weeks with a weave in, and she only suggested you go 10 weeks. But I wanted to push it and see how far I could go. So I went 17 weeks, but the hair was good. No kinks, I just run my hand through it, but I just wanted to wait and see. So do you suggest people taking a break after they go 17 weeks after having a weave?
I do suggest that. I suggest that in between getting sew-ins put in, maybe a couple back-to-back, I really suggest that you wear the sew-in between 8 to 10 weeks. She pushed it to 17. I said don't go no further than 12, but it's always a good time to take it out to see what your natural hair looks like. Give it a nice big deep conditioner and a trim, and that's what we did today. So we're pressing it out. She's gonna wear her own hair out for 1 whole week. Then she's gonna come back and get her sew-in reapplied next week.
So how is the hair doing and what does it look like? Does it look good? Is it
Natural hair is in great condition. Not too many split ends because we keep up on your trim, so we'll be trimming it up when I get done. Also, a lot of ladies have issues with talking about sew-ins and their edges, and she already got all her edges.
I got edges, y'all. I got some edges. Don't front high.
So we don't have that issue because of the way the braids were put in. It wasn't too tight. The install was tight, but not too tight. So you didn't lose any hair. You lost the natural amount of hair you should lose. 80 to 100 strands a day.
80 to 100 strands a day. Well, in 17 weeks, you gotta admit, you gotta lose some kind of hair. But this is Exquisite Hair Design, Rashina Stewart. We're gonna come back with more tips, and you're gonna see how it flows after she finished. Right here, Exquisite Hair Design. That's DJ Smooth on the 1 and 2. Thank you to DJ Smooth. And of course, we'd like to thank the people who helped put the show together, like Howard Gilliam Jr. of New Video Productions. He has a TV show called My Special Day TV. You can catch it every Thursday at 1 o'clock on phillycam.org/web channel. So all across the world, wherever you are, stop, watch. Not drop, but stop and watch. That's Thursday at 1 o'clock. That's My Special Day TV. And it's my special day. It's our special day.
You can't forget Doc Smitty.
Doc Smitty, of course, I would never forget Doc Smitty of Groove Boy Production, because he's always grooving and he always making the audience see. He's your camera person. See, he has you on camera, so your pretty faces, he's got you.
Mostly, I have to thank him for making me look really good on pictures he posts online. So
yes, he does. Yes, he does make us. Yes, absolutely. But today we have Brenda L. Thomas, Rayleigh Lewis, and they are authors. But today we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the real story behind Brenda L. Thomas and your first book, where she introduced Sasha. So tell us about the real story.
So Sasha, you know, Beyonce stole it from me, but I'll tell you, after writing that book, every woman who read that book wanted to be Sasha. And every man who read it, because it was not a male-bashing book, wanted to meet Sasha. She was sexy, she was fierce, and she had no problem with her sexuality. So anyway, I wrote this book. First printing was 1,000 copies. Within 3 years, we printed and sold over 20,000
So you
copies.
said this was a self-published,
Yes.
and you said 30, what did you say, 30 publishers turned you down?
Yes.
I think that's what you said.
Yes,
right?
30 publishers turned me down because nobody knew who I was. They were like, oh, you know, I sent them the prologue. It was like, oh, it sounds good, but now we don't know you. So I didn't let that get me down because I was determined to live out my dream. One person, my ex-husband, had told me not to write. I wasn't going to let New York tell me the same thing. So put the project together with the help of coworkers and friends and family. The book comes out. It winds up within 2 to 3 years selling 20,000 copies. And when I tell you we hustled, we hustled. We hustled like it was illegal. And what happened was Kobe Bryant got into that trouble in Colorado, okay? The night that they pressed the charges, you know, against him, my daughter called me and she says, Mom, you're about to blow up. I was like, why would you say that? She said, I'm just telling you. The next morning, my phone rings, right? So at this time, I was working, but, you know, all my money that I was making was going into the book and marketing and all that. So phone rings, and I hear this guy on the phone. He sounded white. He was like, hi, man, speak to Brenda Thomas. I'm like, oh, shoot, another bill collector, right? I was like, she's not here right now. I said, can I take a message? He was like, well, could you tell her, I forget his name, that so-and-so called from Dateline? I said, hold on, I think I hear her coming in. So I took the call as Brenda Thomas, and that started it. I mean, I was on everything from Dateline to Entertainment Tonight, E! True Hollywood Story, 2020. They were coming to my house. I mean, they were everywhere. And it was really a blessing for me that Kobe got into that trouble.
And for his wife, you know,
Right.
she got the fat rock.
Exactly.
I'm all the
You're
way up.
So as a result of that, all those things happened. And then that January, we had the NBA, NBA All-Star in Philly was before that. And so that was great for me as well. Some of the feedback I got on the book from people in the NBA and my former boss, Stephon Marbury, was interesting as well. Because one, everybody swore that the girl in the book was me. Because the woman in the book, she had dreadlocks, she was tall at the time. I looked the same way. Because it was my first book, so my daughter was like, well, you know, we were coming up with these people who the other characters could be like, because I needed to have a vision in my head of what the person looked like. So I said, well, who am I going to use for Sasha? She was like, just use yourself. Was that a mistake? Well, maybe it wasn't. So I'll tell you.
It gave intrigue.
It did.
It was probably a great thing.
Oh, it was wonderful.
You see, that's what I wanted to know.
So I'm in California, and I'm doing a radio show out there. And I get a call, and it's from Stephon, right? So he's like, yo, somebody told me they heard you on the radio talking about I came up to your hotel room and gave you all these diamonds. I was like, what? And so you know me, I'm from Philly, right? I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? I said, first of all, you called me after all this time. You had done say, what's up? You know, how you doing? You know, you need any help? Because he had promised me, look, you start that project, because I started the book when I was working for him. I'm gonna help you out, I got you. That was his line, I got you. He didn't have me. I did the project on my own. So now you calling me, telling me what somebody said they heard on the radio. So my thing to him was, did you ever come to my hotel room and give me any diamonds? Right? He was like, no. I said, then why are you calling me asking me that? So, we kind of got into a little thing on the phone. But because I was not going to back down. This was my story, and it was fictional. But if somebody was presenting to him that way, if his wife had read the book, which I knew she had because she called and asked me for a copy, however they wanted to take it, I didn't care. So, that was some of the beef, and, people were like, oh, this is really your story. So from there, I got picked up by a major publisher, Simon & Schuster, because now I had made enough noise. I was all over television. And, it's funny, when I was doing a lot of the serious media shows, people were thinking that I was going against Kobe. Here I am, a black woman, I've got the dreadlocks, and they're like, oh, she's, she's putting a black man down, but I never put him down. My thing was this. People found it so hard to believe that Kobe was capable of doing something like that, whereas had it been our Allen Iverson,
they would
have been like, yep, he did it. He did it.
All over
immediately.
Where we know Allen didn't have to take no behind at all, okay? As we sit here in Fridays.
Actually, I think I'm just going to say.
We right in this spot.
I think that Allen probably got more than Kobe did.
Okay.
Because, he was a little cornball.
Right, that's why he didn't know what he was doing.
That's right. Iverson had, swag.
So, so that was my take on it, basically, just kind of letting people know what it really was like. And I was able to speak from a true spot because not only had I written a fictional book, but I had also been in the underbelly of professional sport. I've been to some of those parties. I've seen some of the things that these girls would do, and believe me.
Willing to do.
Okay, willing to do to the athlete, to the people with the athletes. So it was definitely an interesting time. So from there, I wrote the sequel to Threesome, which was called Fourplay, The Dance of Sensuality. And at this time, Sasha had built her own little empire, which was a PR firm, and this was before Shondaland and Scandal. She was the first. And so she had built a PR firm, and then it went on, she had some clients that were interesting, and then Phoenix, who was the NBA athlete in Threesome, came back into her life. So the next book was The Velvet Rope, because people told me that Fourplay wasn't as sexy, they said, as Threesome. And part of the reason might have been because at the time my mother was sick, she was dying, I was working on this book, so it was kind of hard to sit.
Sasha grown up.
No.
And learn something.
Well, she was trying.
Okay.
It was kind of hard writing a sex scene sitting at your mother's bedside, when she's, on her last days.
So how long does it take you to get write each book? I mean, to get from book to book, because now this is your career. You're writing. This is what you want to do. How long does it take you to get from book to book? Do you do this as a full-time job where you're writing every day? How did your life change as an entrepreneur now? Okay, so for about 5 years, I was just a full-time author, and it was great. But what happens is when I wrote that first book, nobody was waiting for it. Nobody knew it was coming. I could take my time. I mean, I remember sitting in my home office reading it out loud to make sure it was right. Once you sign with a publisher, then it's like, okay, you got 9 months. 3 months, we want the book. Then we want this. Then we want. So I mean, then you're under the gun. Then you have all these deadlines. So Fourplay came out, I think, in 2004, and then they wanted the next book. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it takes away. It takes away your creativity in a way, because now you're starting to feel like you got to churn this thing out. So after Fourplay, and people came back and said, oh, it wasn't as sexy as the other one. I was like, okay. So I wrote The Velvet Rope. And I said, I'm going to give them something, right? So when I write, I talk to men, I talk to women. If there's people who have certain careers in the book, I research that because I want to make it sound real. So The Velvet Rope was about this young woman, Tiffany Johnson, who was about in her early 30s, and I had never written anybody that young before. So of course I had to go to my young bunch and get all kinds of names and code words and all this kind of stuff. And we're going to hear more details about it when we come back. But I wanted to ask Raylia, now that you hear the whole story and the background of what it's like to be an author that started out, are you a self-publisher?
No, I went through a publishing company called Dope Publishing.
So what inspiration do you get from Brenda?
Well, I just love her hustle. I learned a lot about how she had to invest and, borrow from her family and, just really go and push the book herself. I love that because even though I have a publisher, I'm going to a publishing company, I'm still hustling and still promoting it myself and still, making noise for myself because you still have to do that regardless. Nobody's going to do that work for you.
Right.
So she taught me a lot with that.
So anybody out there, if you're an author, aspiring author, because it seems now, I don't know, it just seems like everybody wants to write a book and hey, I might write a book. We ain't all write a book. Is this the way to go? When we come back, we're gonna find out from Brenda Lee. Is this the way to go? Writing a book, is that the new 30? Was it 40s new 30, 30s new 40? Is book writing the new job?
The new hustle.
The new job, the new hustle. I'm gonna get me a book. You get you a book. But it's a single on a Saturday night.
So now it's those who can do, those who can't write.
We just gonna write. We're gonna get a book. All right, single on a Saturday night, right here at TGI Fridays, 4000 City Ave. Here we are, right here, single on a Saturday night, right here at TGI Fridays, 4000 City Ave. We do this every fourth Saturday, and you are welcome to join us. And today we have Brenda L. Thomas, Raylia Lewis. They are authors, and we're talking about the game of being an author. And it's actually a game. It's like you said, it's almost like it's a hustle, because everything is a hustle. You're hustling up what you want to do in life, how you do it, how you make your money. And actually, writing a book can make you money in your sleep. Yes. Isn't that true?
That's very true.
You making that money in your sleep? Can I go to sleep and make some money? Wait a minute. So tell us about. Let's fast forward to. You have a lot of books, so let's talk about how many you have. And
all right. So as I was saying, so it was The Velvet Rope, which probably was one of my most erotic type books. And after that, I wrote Every Woman's Got a Secret, and then it was like, okay, what am I going to do next? So I decided at that point in 2007 to write my memoir, which is something I had always wanted to do. And I'll show the cover.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
so this is the cover, Laying Down My Burdens. And this book is my personal story of how I overcame being a victim of domestic violence and drug addiction. Because like I said, for those years that I was with the father of my children, my ex-husband, I was abused and I was on drugs. So it was a rough time in my life. And what was funny was that I went back to self-publishing with this book because I wanted to have total control over it. And I knew that when you're going out to do speaking engagements and things of that sort, that you needed to kind of really have your arms wrapped around the entire project. What I didn't realize was that my other books, Threesome and Fourplay, everybody thought I was that main character. Everybody thought that I was Sasha. When this book came out, my memoir, nobody believed it was me. So I would go to, I remember once going to a book club, and it was these women, and they were kind of, from the University of Penn, and I forget, they called themselves some kind of elite name, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be some high-class women, how I'm going to handle this, right? So I go in, and they kept staring at me. They could not believe that I had been through this in my life, and had come out, still looked the way I did, and they were questioning the truth of the book. First of all, I had no reason to lie, because the book is not just pointing the finger at me.
Did you use his name in there?
No, only names I used, I didn't use his, real names I used was me and my family. But people in Philly know him.
Because he grew up with you. Like
exactly.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew him.
So, but I just kind of wanted to put that one layer on there. And so, it was a matter of people really believing that it was a true story. So the other thing that was interesting is that, people thought that when I wrote it, I was, it was going to be all cathartic and that I was going to have all these revelations. When I was writing it, it was horrible because I had to relive all that. I mean, I was nights when I was still chewing the inside of my gums thinking I was still doing coke. There was nights when or mornings when I would walk to work and I would think he was behind me. So once the book was out and I began to speak about it, that's when the healing began. That's when I forgave myself, because I had forgiven him, but I had never forgiven myself. So the healing began for me, and that book came out in 2007, so it took me on a totally different journey than my novels. So fast forward, in 2014, I decided I wanted this book to be a movie. So we did a trailer for it, and we were ready to go into pre-production, but then a publisher came to me, Brown Girls Books, and they wanted to do my next book. They were like, Brenda, what are you doing? You haven't written a book in a while. So I decided this book I had been tinkering with, Woman on Top, that I would put this out because I needed to get my name back out there again. I needed people to know that I was still writing because people were asking. So Woman on Top came out August of last year, and I needed to say all my books are based in Philly. I mean, I'm a Philly girl through and through. So Woman on Top is about politics, corruption, and seduction as seen through the eyes of Philly's First Lady. And it's fiction, so it's not about our real mayor's wife. At least that's what I tell people. So as I tell you, you know, I did my research, and it's a great book. And I can honestly say that because when you haven't written in 7 years and you write, you know, as a writer, you know, we're some strange people, the creative type. We always second guess ourselves. Exactly. And you know, people are quick to criticize. You cannot be a writer and have thin skin because people will pick up and be like, I saw an error. I mean, and they ask you, I remember in one book, somebody said to me, well, if they had sex on the table, did they clean the table off afterwards? I was like, it's a book, right? But I ain't say that. I was
go
like,
into details. Did you pull out the
when you watch porn and they have sex with the dude fixing the dishwasher, you never see him load the dishwasher afterwards. It just cut scene.
well, and another example, this is a, you know,
Use
a little,
your imagination, people.
thank you, a little different with the memoir. You know, part of it is when you're in that kind of relationship that's abusive, you know, it's sexual abuse as well. So in order to stop the physical abuse, you know, it turns to sex, okay? And in these book clubs, women would ask me, well, how did you have sex with him when your mouth was busted? And what I didn't realize is that it was a survival tactic. You know, you had to, if in order to stop him from beating on me, I had to have sex with him, and that's what I would do. But people question every part of your life. So I tell you, if you're doing a memoir or an autobiography, be prepared. But on a lighter note, Woman on Top is doing really well.
And it's out right now.
It's out
Did
right
you
now.
find that it was harder to get back out there to find the success that you found before with Woman on Top?
I think what I had to realize was that, you know, a lot of things have changed. Social media now is is happening, whereas before I was sending out email blasts. Now it's all about social media. But what I also realized is some of the old tricks I use still work. Okay? Those hand sales, having your postcards with you all the time, having books in your trunk, all of those things never go away. They never go away.
You know, people like me,
Yeah.
personal touch is needed.
Exactly.
I go to 99 things and 85 people there are an author, but only 3 of them have a book. And that's really true. Oh, hit me up on Facebook. Well, I done forgot about you 2
Right.
seconds after I walked away from you. Oh, well, follow me on Instagram. Well, I have 10,000 friends on Instagram or followers or whatever it is. I don't even know. And you ain't gonna come on my feed. They
Right.
don't understand that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, nothing like a handwritten thank
Exactly.
you card.
Exactly.
There's nothing like handing me your book.
Exactly.
Finished.
Yes. So, Woman on Top. So it is different. A lot is different, and a lot is the same. So you know, you can't expect. I tell people, don't write a book thinking you're going to become this best-selling author, J.K. Rowling, or somebody like Zane or something like that. There's a million authors out there who are making money, taking their time. You know, a steady drip breaks a rock. You know, you're not going to be able to quit your job right away. And I mean, if it
But
happens,
you're still able to make a living from it. Even if you
Exactly.
didn't write for 7 years, you were still making money in your sleep. You were still
Exactly.
cooping the residual
And-
income
exactly.
of your other books.
And then what happens is you put a new book out, and then everybody reads this and
The
say, well,
old
what
book.
else
They
she
go back
done
to the old
read?
book. They go
What
back
else
to
she
the
done
old
wrote? So that brings people, then you have all these new readers out here that have never read your book. And that is always feel good when somebody, oh, I've never read any of your books before. Then they read it and they want to read everything. So where I'm at now is, you know, I'm still doing book signings for this, doing shows like Shelley's, and also we are now preparing to go into pre-production for Laying Down My Burdens.
Yay.
So that's going to be exciting and scary.
It is scary, right?
Who are you involved in the casting? I would wonder who was going to play me. I have that much, you know, hubris. I really would want, like, you know, how do you see yourself?
Well, you know, you look at all these
But we're
people.
gonna find out about how you see yourself. I mean, we know, damn, not all right here. But we're going to find out next week about how you see yourself, the casting, and we're going to talk to Raylia Lewis, her journey. This is the beginning of her journey as an author, but she has done a whole lot of things. So this is Single on a Saturday Night. Thank you to everyone who puts the show together. I did not think, of course, Rashida Stewart of Exquisite Hair Design. She is my hairstylist. So she has an app called Hairy Situation. So if you have a phone, which everybody should have a phone. I mean, if you